The Certificate of Entitlement or COE is the quota license received from a successful winning bid in an open bid uniform price auction which grants the legal right of the holder to register, own and use a vehicle in Singapore for a period of 10 years. When demand is high, the cost of a COE can exceed the value of the car itself. History: on May 1, 1990, the then Transportation Unit of Singapore's Public Works Department instituted a quota limit to vehicles called the COE when rising affluence in the city-state catapulted land transport network usage, and previous measure to curb vehicle ownership by simply increasing road taxes was ineffective in controlling vehicle population growth. The premise was that the small city-state had limited land resources and with demand for vehicle ownership spiraling out of control, would result in traffic conditions exceeding the criterion of a healthy road network that is sustainable by developments in land transport infrastructure, resulting in gridlock. Along with a controversial congestion tax called electronic road pricing, the COE system is one of the key pillars in Singapore's traffic management strategies that aims to provide a sustainable urban quality of life at the expense of her citizens. System: before buying a new vehicle, potential vehicle owners in Singapore are required by the Land Transport Authority to first place a monetary bid for a certificate of entitlement. The number of available COEs is governed by a quota system called the Vehicle Quota System and is announced by LTA in April of each year, with a review in October for possible adjustments for the period of 1 year starting from May. Approximately 1/12 of the yearly quota is auctioned off each month in a sealed bid, uniform price auction system, and successful bidders pay the lowest winning bid. Vehicle Quota System: the number of COEs available to the public is regulated by the Vehicle Quota System that is calculated every 6 months based on the following conditions: actual number of vehicles taken off the roads, allowable growth in vehicle population, adjustments arising from temporary COEs that have expired or were cancelled. Formula: since the change in the total motor vehicle population is given by the number of registrations minus the number of deregistrations, and any unallocated quota in a given year may be carried over to the following year, the quota formula is as follows. In the formula above, the subscript denotes calendar year and the subscript denotes quota year. Initially, projected deregistrations for year was simply taken to be equal to actual deregistrations in, but from quota year 1999 Euro 2000 onwards, a projected number of deregistrations has been used. Each year, the quota is set to allow for a targeted % growth in the total motor vehicle population, plus additional quota licenses to cover the number of motor vehicles that will be deregistered during the year, plus any unallocated quota licenses from the previous quota year. Validity: the holder of a COE is allowed to own a vehicle for an initial period of 10 years, after which they must scrap or export their vehicle or bid for another COE at the prevailing rate if they wish to continue using their vehicle for a further 5 or 10 years. At the end of the 10-year COE period, vehicle owners may choose to deregister their vehicle or to revalidate their COEs for another 5 or 10-year period by paying the prevailing quota premium, which is the 3-month moving average of the quota premium for the respective vehicle category. You do not need to bid for a new COE to renew the existing COE of your vehicle. A 5-year COE cannot be further renewed, which means that at the end of a 5-year COE, the vehicle will have to be deregistered and either scrapped or exported to another country other than Singapore. Depending on the value of the COE at the time of renewal, vehicle owners are subjected to a somewhat emotional dilemma of whether to pay for a new COE, which can amount to more than the market value of the vehicle, or to deregister their vehicle. The emotional dilemma is certainly enhanced when the vehicle owner is forced to deregister and scrap an otherwise roadworthy vehicle due to lack of time or insufficient funds to afford the COE at the prevailing rate. For comparison in terms of vehicle value to COE value, a second-hand 2007 Mercedes-Benz C200K with a COE expiring in 2017 was advertised at 86,800 Singapore dollars. As of November 2013, for a Category B car with a CC above 1600, the COE is priced at 84,578 Singapore dollars. Auction process: COE bidding starts on the first and third Monday of the month and typically lasts for 3 days to the following Wednesday. Bidding duration will be pushed further in some circumstances, including public holidays. Bidding results can be obtained through the local media on the same day or on a website. 1. All COE bids made in the two-car categories and the motorcycle category must be made in the name of the buyer. Once COE is obtained, the vehicle has to be registered in the name of the bidder, that is Cat A, B and E COEs are non-transferable. To provide flexibility, successful COE bids in the Cat C and Cat E in the name of the individuals are transferable. However, these can only be transferred once within the first 3 months, while successful bids by companies are not transferable at all. An additional restriction on car ownership is the requirement that motor vehicles more than 10 years old, known as time-expired vehicles, must be either renew the COE for either 5 or 10 years or deregister the vehicle for scrapping or exporting from Singapore, usually to neighboring countries. For vehicles which have a renewed COE for 5 years, the owner of the vehicle has to scrap the vehicle at the end of the period with no option to renew the COE. Some of these vehicles have been exported farther to other right-hand drive countries like New Zealand, which has traditionally imported such vehicles from Japan. The result of the peculiarities of the Singapore car market has resulted in Singapore being the second largest exporter of used cars in the world after Japan. Cars are exported to many countries, including Libya and Trinidad. Owners of such vehicles are given financial incentives to do this, which include a preferential additional registration fee. This program was implemented to reduce traffic congestion and it complements other measures to curb road usage such as the electronic road pricing program. COE category refinement in 2013. In September 2013, the COE system has been refined to include a new criterion for Category A cars. Under the change, the engine power of Cat A cars should not exceed 97 kilowatts. This is equivalent to about 130 brake horsepower. This is in addition to the previous criterion of engine capacity of Cat A cars not exceeding 1600 cubic centimeters. However, cars with engine power outputs exceeding 97 a kilowatt will be classified under Category B in COE bidding exercises starting February 2014 despite having engine capacity below 1600 cubic centimeters. The review of the COE categories criteria was because LTA wanted to differentiate and regulate the buying of mass-market and premium cars under Cat A in a bid to control COE prices that hovered closer and closer to 100,000 Singapore dollars. Categories. Initially, COEs were divided into 8 categories, but after many revisions, the system has been simplified to just 5 categories. Categories A, B and E are non-transferable. Taxis used to be classed under Category A, but issuance of COEs became unrestricted from August 2012 onwards. Prior to May 1999, current categories: historical records, quota premium, March 2009 second open bidding, April 2010 first open bidding, December 2011 first open bidding, 2013 results. 2. Vehicle growth rate. From April 2010, the COE quota calculation was amended. Under the new methodology, the Land Transport Authority recycles the COE quota from the actual vehicle deregistrations in the most recent 6-month period back into the system. Instead of an annual quota, figures will be revised every 6 months. For example, there are 800,000 vehicles as of January. Based on the allowable growth rate of 1.5%, there will be an additional 6,000 COEs for sale every 6 months. On top of the number of vehicles deregistered in the same period, this means the COE quota for July to December will be 26,000. In early October 2011, Singapore Minister for Transport Louis Tuckyu has said that Singapore's annual vehicle growth cap would be cut further from 2012. The annual vehicle population growth rate will be lowered from the current 1.5% to 1.0% in 2012, and then to 0.5% in 2013 and 2014, and then to 0.25% in 2015. The lower vehicle growth rate will be more closely aligned to the pace of road growth going forward. However, in May 2012, Louis Tuckyu did an about-turn and said that more COE may be released and the plans to quotas cut car growth would be delayed. COE range, average vehicle pricing, detailed cost structures when buying a car can be found at this site. 3. All prices are in Singapore dollars dated March 2012. Compactor 71,999 Singapore dollars a euro 89,500 Singapore dollars, mid-size EL 81,999 Singapore dollars a euro 149,000 Singapore dollars, full-size sedan 150,000 Singapore dollars. In popular culture, Despair, a song on the Observator is Leslie Lowe's solo album, No Such Thing as Ghosts, plays on the double meaning of certificate of entitlement in the lyric, No there is no heart here / just a certificate of entitlement, as part of its indictment of the elitist and uncaring side of Singaporean society. References: Grant, Jeremy. Singapore overtakes Tokyo as world's most expensive city. FT.com. Retrieved July 7, 2014. http eresources.nlb.gov articles SIP 1005 April 7, 2006 HTML, Overview of a Vehicle Quota System. Land Transport Authority of Singapore. Retrieved January 24, 2013. Link, Hui Tan. Rationing Rules and Outcomes, The Experience of Singapore's Vehicle Quota System. IMF Working Paper, Fiverr, Farah Abdul Rahim. 100,000 used Singapore cars expected to be exported this year. Channel News Asia, COE system to include engine power for Qatar cars, taxis out of COE bidding process from August. Channel News Asia July 27, 2012. Retrieved February 27, 2013. Royston Sim. Certificate of Entitlement premiums fall for all categories. Straits Times, Motoring, a Singapore Press Holdings website. Despair. Leslie Lowe on Bandcamp. Retrieved September 17, 2014. External links, Land Transport Authority, Informatic Web on Motoring in Singapore, COE prices, interactive COE prices Today Online.